Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today I'm at Holmes Honda here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and this is the 2022 Honda Civic Sport Hatchback, fully redesigned for 2022. And there are a lot of great changes, including how the vehicle handles an upgraded chassis and suspension setup that makes a huge difference as to how this car handles out on the road. We'll do a test drive later on, obviously, to show that. The exterior color on this model is lunar silver. It has a black interior and a sticker price of $25,115. So what are the advantages to this model? It has more cargo capacity than a lot of its competitors do. You've got a decent amount of horsepower from the available engine options, which, depending on which you go with, both get solid fuel mileage, but obviously the lesser powered of the two is going to get the best. And of course, it's sporty, as you would expect, this being the sport trim level, but as is the case with all of the Civics, they are sporty. Handling is superb, which makes them a lot of fun to drive. For those who haven't had a chance to have a good look at this newly redesigned Civic, we'll just give you a quick look around. I really like the way this lower door sill is designed. Not only having that black trim down there on the very bottom, and just the overall design here with the body lines kind of working their way up towards the rear of the vehicle. That just seems to be right. And if you're wondering about the remote, well, here's what that looks like. Lock, unlock, you can open the rear hatch, and you have remote start. So that is always a great feature. And you do have LED tail lights, just to take a quick look at those as we work our way around. Now, you do have power mirrors. They're not power folding side view mirrors. You can manually fold these if you wish to, but they don't fold automatically with the push of a button. You're going to have the 235/40 R18 wheels. So those are 18-inch wheels. LED headlights also. Now, you won't have the fog lights on the lower portion of the bumper down there, but here is something that is a little bit different here. You're gonna notice you don't have chrome down here in the lower portion of the headlights. And so what that does, actually, I think that's gonna wear better. It's gonna look better. I don't know, it just seems to fit better, at least on this particular model with the black trim, daytime running lights. A question that I'm often asked is, what is the percentage of the window tint? So let's talk about that real quick. Here on the front windows, that's gonna be 40%. Then you're gonna have 25% here on the rear doors and the rear window right here, and the rear window on the hatch right here is 12% tint. So here is the 2-liter 4-cylinder under the hood, 158 horsepower, and you might wonder, isn't that supposed to be 252? Well, if it was turbocharged, yes, it would be. This is the naturally aspirated version of the 2-liter Honda 4-cylinder. 158 horsepower may seem awful low, but depending on who you are, well, it may not matter. That may be the perfect amount of horsepower for your situation. It's made to do a CVT, continuously variable single-speed transmission, and of course is a front-wheel drive model. Here's the advantage of that 158 horsepower. 29 miles per gallon estimated in gas, city, 37 out on the highway, 32 combined. And according to Honda, per every 100 miles you drive, you should burn 3.1 gallons of gas. A big advantage to the hatchback version of the Civic as we open the rear hatch is going to be cargo capacity, a total of 24.5 cubic feet. So there's a lot of space back here, and it's really hard to do one-handed, but under the floor here, you do have the protective mat back here, but under that floor is a spare tire. So if you don't like the spare or the tire repair kit, well, obviously that's very important to you. And of course, you can lower these rear seats on both sides. I'm just going to do one for now, just so you can see how that looks. And let's just close the rear hatch here real quick and just get a good look at the overall rear. You do have a bit of a diffuser down there. I don't know if I'd really call it that. It kind of looks like a diffuser, but not very big, but I think it actually fits this car very well. One other advantage here to this particular model, let's walk up here. Of course, you've got the lock and unlock buttons here on the remote. So let's walk up here to the gas door. As you can see, I can just open that. It is capless fuel fill, but when you lock the interior, see if you can hear it. You can hear that the gas door locks as well, so that will keep that safe. We'll unlock that again so we can open it back up, just so you know if you were curious about that. And a quick look into the back seat. You're going to have the door bin right there. You can stick a decent sized bottle in there. Soft materials right here for the armrest. Not a whole lot to show on this particular trim level, but just so you know what's here. But obviously the main area of interest is going to be in the front seat. Let's take a look. And just looking in through the passenger side door here, of course, you're going to notice you do have a larger door bin here in the front. Contrast stitching, which is in multiple areas throughout the vehicle. Here's something interesting, if you haven't seen the interior of one of these new Civics before, is the fact that your air conditioning vent is right here, but the entire section of the dashboard right here in the center pretty much looks the same, but yet you pretty much know by these adjustments right here where your air conditioning vents are. And overall, of course, a very sporty looking interior. This is a cloth interior, but still very comfortable, very easy to maintain as well, and has that sporty stripe through the center of the seat, just giving it a very nice look. If you are all alone and you want to check out the different features in the back seat and all that kind of stuff on your new Civic, make sure that the child safety locks that are located right here are not active. When this switch is in the up position, that means they're not active. If you want to use them, then it's going to be in that position, in the down position, basically closer to the lock right there. So you want to make sure they're in this up position so you don't get stuck in the back seat. Not that you couldn't climb through into the front, but I don't know that anybody really wants to have to do that if they can avoid it. And looking in through the driver's side door here, of course, everything you would expect to see here for your power mirrors, power windows, power locks, all that good stuff here. You do have manually adjustable seats on the driver and passenger side, and we'll just hop on in here into the driver's seat, hit the push button start, and let you take a look at the dashboard here just to see what that looks like. Of course, you're going to have your steering wheel mounted controls for everything you would expect to see here. Paddle shifters on the steering wheel that will basically mimic having a transmission with gears in it, so kind of have that functionality when you're driving in sport mode. There's your blinker lever that I know a lot of people either can't afford on their vehicles or they just don't know how to use it. So a quick little tutorial: you push it into the up position when you're going to turn to the right or change lanes to the right, and you do the same thing into the down position when you're going to change lanes to the left or turn to the left, just for those of you who might not understand that technology in this day and age. Over here, can't say anything sarcastic about the functionality for the windshield wipers, but yet there it is. And you do have multiple driving modes, of course, and let's just go right down here. I'll show you where that is. Here is your drive mode selector, and we'll go back up here to the dashboard so I can show you what all is there as far as normal, econ, and sport. Now, here is something interesting. You might not know about this, but I'll show you real quick. The infotainment screen is actually sitting a little bit higher up on the dashboard, and don't worry about that kind of flashing effect you see on the screen. It actually comes from my camera, so that's not actually the screen itself. But here's the advantage to this screen sitting higher up. It allows the driver, if they need to look at that screen for whatever reason, to still have their eyes on the road instead of having to look further down, as might have been the case in the past and still is with other vehicles. Of course, you are going to have the backup camera with multiple views just to show you what all is there. Really nice technology, and just to show you a little bit of some of the features and functionality that are here. We're not going to go through everything, but I just want to show you a little bit of what's there. Of course, everything for controlling your air conditioning can be found right here. Very easy to use. Got a USB port and the 12-volt power outlet right here. A little bit of storage. If you had wireless charging, that's where that would be. For those of you who are not fans of the push-button shifters, well, you'll like the fact that you have the regular conventional style shifter here, and just some of these other features that you really already saw. You've got the power parking brake. You've got brake hold mode so that when you come to a complete stop, you don't have to keep your foot on the brake. And of course, the auto stop start feature that you can turn off if you so desire. Cup holders, and really just a very nice looking interior. Take a quick look here into the center console. If you don't want that tray in there, that is easily removed. just so you can see a little bit of what some of the features and functionality are here. As we get out onto the road for our test drive, one thing I did not mention earlier, you might wonder about the horsepower numbers being 158. Well, you do have hill start assist, so you have a little bit of a boost there if you happen to need it, depending on where you live. Here in Northwest Louisiana, well, that's really not an issue too often. But let's just talk about the overall driving experience with this Civic. And I must say, driving in the multiple driving modes, I'm driving in normal driving mode right now. The acceleration is still actually exceptional. Kind of surprising, to be honest, considering the horsepower numbers. And so let's drop down to Econ just to kind of see what the difference might be. I can feel a noticeable difference, so obviously it's going to take a little bit of power away. Depending on what your situation is and the gas mileage you want, whatever your desires are, well, that will determine what mode you drive in. But obviously, my preference is to go into sport. And on the fly, just changing driving modes, wow, that was a difference. I could really tell a decent difference. I'm not going to say it's a huge difference, but a decent difference going from Econ up to sport mode. And the ride quality is good. Leather wrapped steering wheel is nice and comfortable. When it comes to the overall handling characteristics of this Civic, I'm impressed. It just feels planted to the ground. It feels secure. It feels stable. It just feels like a sporty vehicle. Even though this is by no means something I would call a high performance vehicle, it feels a lot more fun to drive than the horsepower would lead you to think it would be. That's probably the best way that I can put it. And just overall, a nice vehicle. If you've never owned a vehicle with all the technology, this would be a good place to start. I know there's still a lot of people out there who have told me in the comments section on my videos that they are afraid to step into a new vehicle because of all the technology that simply didn't exist 20, 30 years ago, whatever it's been. Don't be afraid of that. The Honda systems here, as far as the infotainment system and all the different driving safety aids, driver safety aids, I should say, not difficult to use, not difficult to adjust to, not overly aggressive when it comes to the driving aids that this car has. There are others out there that do have overly aggressive lane keep assist, different things along those lines. Honda has really made some very solid improvements in those areas compared to what we've seen in the past with some of the other models. And I just expect that to continue. Let's not get tongue-tied there. We'll do this in one take. But Honda continues to refine that as we move into the future. So it's always very impressive to see what they come up with, the Honda engineers, when it comes to rolling out a new generation of a vehicle. So tell me down in the comments section if you plan to buy a Civic, whether it's the sedan version or the hatchback version like this, what trim level do you plan to buy? And that's a quick tour of the 2022 Honda Civic Sport Hatchback. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me this model for the day, and all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, check out this area of the screen over here. You'll see some more videos you can watch, and I'll see you there.